Hey, it's Mike Rich, host of the Hip Entrepreneur Program, and you're probably wondering what the getup is. Well, just coming out from the New Year party in the next room. Well, you could say so. This program today is all about New Year's success and achieving your goals in the new year. And if that's of interest to you, stay tuned.
Your career masterpiece begins with a blank slate and inspiration. SCCC is here with the tools you'll need to create a personal work of art. We have small class sizes, so you'll always have access to our dedicated faculty. And with over 45 programs to choose from, there's a career for you just waiting to be discovered.
My goal is to open my own restaurant.
Perform at Lincoln Center.
I definitely made the right choice by coming to SCCC.
Start drawing your bigger picture today. Log on to learn more or to register.
Hi, it's Mike Rich. Welcome back to the program. You've probably seen me on the show Hip Entrepreneur, where I interview entrepreneurs and people who either are in business or are looking to start up. Perhaps you have a business idea or some kind of product or service that you want to launch. Well, it's important to have goals. And the theme for today's program is all about goal getting and New Year's success. Actually, I teach a whole course on goal getting, and that's a distinction over goal setting. And in a future program, we'll have an interview with Brian Tracy, who's an expert in this area. For today, though, I want you to think about your goals, and I have a special treat as well. One of my friends, or fans, as you could say, who's been a big supporter of my work over the years, had a video of me doing a similar talk that I'm doing right now back in 1995, can you believe that, when I used to be the host of the Success Club. And the Success Club was a motivation support group that I started in Chicago in the late 80s, early 90s, that brought people together. Many of them were entrepreneurs, but others were just people who were into self-improvement. And this particular meeting at the Success Club, they taped me, which was literally videotaping at that time, giving a presentation on New Year's success. And that theme, every year, to sit down and to work on your goals, has continued and maintained. And now there are club chapters literally all around the world. 3 years ago, I spoke in Manila, and I was surprised in Manila, the Philippines, how many people came out for this particular talk. Because people, just like in America and the rest of the world, are very interested in kicking off their year in high gear. They want to make the most of the time. Now, the new year can begin at any time for you, because if you're watching this and it doesn't happen to be January, well, it could be launched on a birthday, an anniversary, or just you making the decision today or whenever, because it's a date on the calendar, that 1 year from today, you'll have accomplished these particular goals. And that's what makes it exciting. New Year's success can begin today, because we're talking about planning a year. And for me, my birthday is in July, so literally I have almost 6 months, a half a year between the two events. New Year's, my birthday, then New Year's again. Well, it's all kind of made up. You can decide any day that this is a new start, a new beginning for you. And that's what this program is about today. So today we'll start off talking about goals and what they are. Now, the tradition of goals and goal setting goes back really millennia. There's ancient texts going back to Greece, the Romans. Most cultures do celebrate the new year as a time for renewal. And if you're in business or you have a 9-to-5 job, there is that opportunity to reflect on your career and your profession and in your personal habits. Goals are not limited. A goal is basically both a journey and a destination. Goal setting is a very popular term where we sit down and we write out our goals. Well, today we're going to talk more in depth about the process of goal getting. And to introduce myself from 1995, a period of time that was long ago now, you can talk about 21-year anniversary, it's fascinating, at least for me and so the friends who were at that particular meeting, to reflect on the passage of time. So given that philosophy that 1 year is going to go by, in fact, it'll probably fly by. How did you do last year? Did you get all your goals? It's amazing how quickly time has gone by. So this is an opportunity for us to think ahead, to look towards the future by utilizing the present, the here and now, to plan, to contemplate, and to think through the goals that we want to achieve in the new year. So I want to share this real quickly with you that this is my 6-year-old daughter. So, Daddy, you're doing the show. She just drew a little Happy New Year. I'm sure it was part of her first grade assignment. But even kids are indoctrinated into the new year. My parents were big Guy Lombardi fans, and for those of you of that generation who are familiar with big band music, he had the Audie slang song, maybe we'll add that, where da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So everyone gets serious about the new year, and most people celebrate it. Some people celebrate it a bit too much, and then they have to deal with a hangover. Well, we're looking at a more positive aspect to bringing in the new year to where you succeed with your New Year resolutions. And goal getting is really, to me, a step above, because many people break their New Year resolutions. Well, we're looking at goals that carry you through not just to the new year, but far into your future. In reality, 1 year is a very short period of time. 12 months, right, 52 weeks of the year, 365 days, may seem like a lot, and it is a good chunk of time. But think about your past. How many years have just flown by? So think about your goals in context to not just New Year resolutions of perhaps drinking less or eating better and joining the gym. Think long-term about the benefit, what you get out of it, what you're going to achieve. So what does success mean to you? So introducing my past self to you, this is a clip of that New Year's Success program that talks about the concept of goal getting and how you can use this formula to achieve your goals. And I hope you like it, you use it, and you benefit from it. Here is me, 21 years ago. What is success to you? Why is it that you want these particular goals? What's driving you? Now, if you look at some satisfactions, some people want to really go for these goals because they're a new venture in life. Other people just want to get immediate gratification, or they're doing it because it's an ego principle, or because someone else is telling them that they have to do it. Well, those aren't really true goals, because a goal is something that's very internal, something that you really want and desire, and it's something that's driving you towards that goal. That's something more internal, a higher principle. It could be love, it could be, the need to have recognition within the community, but because you really care about people, not because you want applause or acclaim for what you want to do. Whatever it is that you have in these goals, there is something that's driving you, it's taking you to that next level. So if you could quickly look over those goals and say, what is it about this goal? Who am I? What's coming out in this goal? Who am I becoming? That, in my theory of presenting goal getting, is the ideal self. The person that really accomplishes more, that has the capability to get things done, is no longer frustrated with the frustrations of the past and the challenges, because you've entered into a whole new sphere of awareness. And this becomes this new, well, it's a capability, but it's a new sense of awareness, and that is reaching the ideal, being able to accomplish those types of goals by just acting out who that person is. So the question is, what does success mean to you? And this is something that you really ought to contemplate on, not just give a flippant answer and say, oh, well, this and this. Success literally is a journey. And as long as you're making progress in that journey towards your destination, which is your goal, then you are making progress, and that's a good definition for success. And a year is a marker. It's a period of time. And the formula that we work with and what we used in the Success Clubs and what the clubs around the world are still doing is that they might have monthly meetings. And you could do this with your friends or family. These clubs meet in libraries, in public places, and it could be a coffee shop, and they get together and they look at these long-range goals, but they're also breaking it down to what they're going to do this month. So when they meet again the following month, they've made that much more progress in moving forward towards their goals. So acting out the part is very important, and this is a little bit of a segment that explains that. Almost the act as if principle, pretending you already have the goal. The best way to pretend is to act that you are that kind of person who's achieved the goal. You can pretend you have the object, but who are you in the manufacture or in the distribution or in the service you provide in handling that product? Who is that person? How has that person changed? That's the person that's responsible. That's the person that can handle the product and do better with it than the person you are now. It's not to say that you're not capable of having those goals now, because obviously you've decided that you can have it, you've imagined it, therefore it's possible. But the reason maybe you don't have it is because there's something missing, and the missing element is what you're not quite expressing yet. That's sometimes a hard thing to look at for a lot of people, because they can't accept that they're not doing something right or they're doing something wrong. That's preventing them from making that next step. So in looking at this and say, gee, I really want to have these goals and they're very important. I understand my motivations and my reasons to why I want to achieve this goal. How am I going to change now? What am I going to do so I'm more deserving of this goal? How can I give more? And if it's a community goal, how can I give to the community so I accomplish this? And how can I improve so my career takes this next step These are very critical questions which very few people ever ask. They want the goal, but they're not looking at what's the work involved. And the work is more than just ringing the doorbells and telling people about the product or the service. It's who you are in the presentation. What's part of the package that they're getting along with this in order for you to get what your goal is? What's the trade-off? That's the big question. So acting out the part is really crucial. Success is a manifestation of your goals. Writing down your goals is the key first step. That's goal setting. And just like the terminology that we all use, get ready, get set, go, the go part is very important. You have to go toward your goals. You have to take some actions. But it's a bit deeper than that. You can act in ways that might be counterproductive. It really comes more from how you're being. Who is the person that has this goal? Who is that new person? And what's the trade-off going to be? What this does then is help you create the new year into a new you, and objectively, you accomplish your goals, but more often than not, you change, and therefore, the year following becomes what? Even better. So it's not just a short-range goal, because as far as goal getting is concerned, a one-year goal is relatively short to medium range. Most goals that people have require major changes of 5 to 10 years or even longer, right? I'm sure if you think about your life and you were to put it on a timeline, you could project out that far, way beyond the year 2000, and you'll know that your life will have changed, will be very different. The carriage of time is going to make things different because we'll age, the economy will change, we'll have a different president. The outside factors will kind of change, but internally, some things will change too. So if you can project yourself out there and say, gee, who am I becoming? And again, have that focus on the ideal self, you can bring more of that realization to the now. What I mean by that, and using the term objectivity, is that you can now begin to create that life because now you're heading towards a target. It's a direction. It's not kind of like, well, I hope this will be a good year. I hope things will improve, because the hope theory of success isn't quite scientifically based. What you want to do is be able to say, this is where I'm going, that's my direction. If I got to cross these hurdles, I know what those hurdles are, and this is what I've got to do in order to make those changes. So it's a commitment. Now, we've often used the term affirmations, right? Everyone's familiar with the term affirmations? Well, I want you to notice something that's very interesting on the sheet that you wrote as far as the major changes in your life. You wrote down 10 major factors. You look at your goals. Well, what do you have there? You've got behavioral changes, changes in attitude, whatever it is that you've decided to change and do, it's written down. Now, if you're using that objectivity correctly, and you look at that new attitude, what do you have right there? You have, in essence, really a theme for 1995, 1996, or beyond. It could be the theme for the rest of the decade, a theme for the new decade, when the millennium approaches, a theme for your life, a theme for this month. Right now for January, we're looking at starting the new year off. So this is our theme, right? To look at the new year and look at what we can accomplish. So the theme is to get prepared, to get really hyped up, to get really excited, and to get started, which is the most important factor, right? We can have all these great goals, but goal getting is different from goal setting because we're looking at actually accomplishing these goals, which is a major difference for a lot of people who start the new year off thinking, these are my resolutions. But you see, they're resolutions, but they really haven't internalized them. In other words, what I'm saying is they haven't made the real resolution. They haven't resolved to be different. That's fascinating. Looking at that this is a process of becoming. It's not just about what you want to have or get as an object. And it's cool if you want to get a new sports car or buy a new house. Great. All the more power to you, and I hope you have success in that area. But who is that person that's responsible, that's able to manage and achieve that goal? And that's the difference between moving forward to where you are now and looking at what it's going to take to achieve that goal. And by the way, if you saw in the video, some people were holding up this notebook. It's exactly from that period of time. It's just any type of notebook can do. It's just a notebook that's going to hold your goals, and you can put in your plans. And you want to be flexible because things can change. This goal activator you can find online. It's a free download as a PDF, and I'll provide that as a link at the end of the show as well. So please stay tuned. You can go to newyearsuccess.com and get all this great free information. All right, so we talked about how you have to act for today to achieve your dream tomorrow. This is a pretty fascinating concept, and I love to be able to reflect on these ideas because they really work. And I've seen over the years people who've come back and say, wow, this one idea changed my life. I don't take credit for any of this type of stuff. It's your goal, and it's your motivation, and it's your focus that's going to help you achieve the outcome. Looking at how you get there is an important part of the process. There's been studies that show that you can reduce levels of stress, and they also have noticed differences in brainwave patterns, where you actually can evolve more into an alpha or awakened state, and you're more in tune and more relaxed in your day-to-day activities. I'm not advocating any particular system or telling you this is something you have to do, but there's enough evidence to say that if you were to relax your mind before you go to sleep and let go of the things you experienced during the day and the problems, frustrations, and just find a centering point in yourself, your problems are going to be easier to handle. You're going to have a much better perspective on the year. You're going to feel more positive and more in tune with who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. Remember, we're trying to get more in touch with this ideal, this person that's accomplished more of these goals. That would be an excellent contemplation, to sit down before you go to sleep or first thing in the morning. They say you should do it for 15 minutes before you go to sleep and 15 minutes when you arise, and points maybe during the day where you really need to find yourself needing to be centered. And just relax. Project yourself into the future. How is this person who has accomplished these goals, how would that person handle the situation right now? Who is this ideal person? What would be the ideal situation or outcome you'd like to accomplish in this situation or problem you're dealing with? Try to go beyond and transcend the problems that you're dealing with every day, and try to find yourself in that relaxed field of vision, which could be in a park or by a lake, or somewhere in Aspen, Colorado. Yeah, Vail, right. Whatever it is for you. And I can't stress that enough as far as contemplating. Finally, in order to keep on track and in tune with these goals, again, I mentioned all these different annual planning, quarterly planning, monthly planning. You want to develop this theme as far as what this month means to you and look at your week. But in order to make your week effective, you've got to know what you're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow can't be a guess. If tomorrow's a guess, then your year is going to be a guess, because tomorrow's the building block, of a successful year, of a successful decade. So it all starts with, what are you going to do tomorrow? Most people make the mistake of waking up in the morning and saying, boy, I feel pretty good today, or gee, I don't know, it's another day, what am I going to do today? That's the wrong question to ask. Now, some people say it's better to ask what am I going to do today versus not asking any questions at all. But it's been my experience, and other speakers as well, that if you're asking that question first thing in the morning, it's too late. Your day is already gone. Because by the time you figure it out and think about what I have to do first, the day is gone. You've got to be able to get up in the morning and look at what you decided last night before you went to sleep. What am I going to do tomorrow? And you've maybe prepared some of the papers and materials. The phone numbers are right there by the telephone. The desk is organized. Everything is set and prepared, so now you can just hop to it. What you've done is you've helped tomorrow by doing something today. You look at your future and say, gee, how can I benefit tomorrow when I wake up in the morning, this next person is going to get up? And that's the advantage, the winning advantage, where a lot of other systems never take into account. If I can get a lot of my goals done today, and if I can't accomplish them, what can I do today so tomorrow is going to be a better day? You don't want to borrow on the future when you have a new year like this, because your year will be shot trying to catch up to things that you never are going to get done. It's the chase syndrome again. You've got to look at tomorrow and say, this is what I'm going to do this week or this month or this quarter. So this is what I really need to get accomplished now. How can I get prepared so tomorrow morning I'm just really, when I'm getting up, I read my declaration, I'm really into state or into the mood, and you just accomplish these goals. It's a very fine distinction to do that or to not do it. And the results are amazing. In other words, I don't want to say I'm going to do this later, because later is not a defined period of time. What you are saying is I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to borrow time for myself tomorrow when I should be doing these other activities, and make myself do these other activities because I said later. Now, some things you got to put off till later, which you are never going to do. Someone says, come on, let's go outside, let's play, have fun right now. I say, well, it's like I've got an appointment in 5 minutes. Oh, I'll blow off the appointment. Look, I'll hang out with you later. Or if someone's calling and it's not one of these people that you really want to talk to, I'll talk to you later. Those are things it's okay to blow off and say later, because these people don't have a schedule. Later is fine with them. Everything in their life is later. But for you, say, yeah, I've got to really do this report. When am I going to do this report? If you say later, you are going to hurt yourself, because you're putting the pressure on a future time which is undefined, where you're late, you've got all this pressure to complete it, and now all of a sudden you say, oh my God, I've got all this to do. And what have you done? You've hurt yourself in a way by borrowing on your future time, when that future time should have been spent or invested in what you want to accomplish now with your goals. You've put off something and now you're paying for it. You don't want this year to be like that anymore. So you want to have the perspective where you go to sleep, say, what's my long-range goal, look at these goals, what can I get done and prepared for tomorrow? That's the big question. and you wake up and you do it. And if you catch yourself, you say, I'm going to do this later. If it's something that's minor as far as filing this paper and you say later, that's dangerous, because later is a time that really never comes. Later comes at a time where it's not convenient. So if you got something you have to put off till later, what should you do? You should schedule it. You've got a calendar. Say, okay, I'm not going to review this report right now. I'm going to do it not later per se. I'm going to do it later, specifically at Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and I write it in. This is my time. I'm going to do it, and I'm committed to making it done, to getting it done at that time. See, the difference is if you just procrastinate on something, later is the best way to procrastinate on anything. So when you're looking at this year, everything's got to be in perspective. You know what your outcome's going to be the next 12 months. It's almost like a row of ducks, right? Or dominoes. If the correct domino falls, they'll all fall in line. But if you knock one this way, knock one the other way, or take the middle one out, it's not going to work. So the best way to systematize your goals is to look at when you're going to do them. It's the most important question to ask. Now, how is an important question, but when is so important. You could have a great plan as far as what the goal is and how you're going to do it. But unless you know when, it might not get accomplished this year. Looking at your goals, a lot of them are long-term goals. So even though we're looking at the New Year's Success Program and what we can achieve in the next 12 months, there might be steps along the way. I call it stage by step. That in reality, where some steps might lead to a temporary obstacle or roadblock, your persistence and motivation to get around them and figure out the best way to achieve the goal will keep you moving forward, and that's building momentum. However, a lot of these goals are going to be longer term. It's important to look at goals that you can break down into 12 steps. That makes your year, right? One per month perhaps, or it could be a series of minor goals that help achieve the bigger goal, and that goal might be further out, a few years down the road. If you wanted to go back to school to get a master's degree or a doctorate, you know it's not going to happen in the next couple months. It's going to take a lot of planning, and then once you're in the study program, how long is that going to take? You should look at it the same way with your goals in that same manner. One final thought on these different goals when you take apart your timeline is to look at these goals and look at the outcome, look like they're accomplished. I've accomplished these goals. You've taken it from the completion phase, which is the most positive, empowering way to do it, because now you're the king, you're the victor, the queen. You're looking at this and saying, I've accomplished these goals. Now you can ask the question, well, how did I do it? And now you can see more strategies in how you did this. And you're using your imagination, of course. But you're getting a better perspective on it because you're taking an overview on it rather than struggling to try to fight all this out and saying, what am I doing? Where am I going? You're kind of rising above the situation and saying, okay, how did the goal get accomplished? How did I do it? I accomplished it. I feel good about it. How did I do it? And then you can look back and say, when did I do it? When were the right sequences accomplished or tackled? So you can look at the goal and say, it took me 12 months to accomplish this goal. What did I do during these quarters in order to get that done? And you kind of work backwards. So you can rise above. Whatever the challenge is, that's your opportunity. It's opportunity knocking to say, hey, you know, if you're facing some resistance, you may have to look at that and see where that's coming from. Maybe you need to explain your goal to your partner better, or to look at how you've been thinking about it. I call it the flight we take every day, or TWA, your thoughts, words, and actions. And a good way to study that and to keep progress is to keep a journal. And a journal could be like a diary or just making notes in your appointment calendar. It's just defining what you've done today, what you're thinking about doing tomorrow, and planning ahead so you can leap forward to achieving the goal. And it really works. If you're not tracking your progress, how do you know if you're making any? They wrote an outline for the whole book, the 12 chapters. What are they? You're writing the outline for your year. The 12 chapters are your 12 months. What are your themes for this year? You could have an annual theme, and you could have a monthly theme. They all have to fit together to the annual theme, and you break it down monthly and quarterly. That's all you got to do. And if you have that attitude and perspective, your year is set. That's great. Now all you have to do is accomplish it. That's the easy part. For a lot of people, they kind of have vague goals, and they have no means of accomplishing them other than the fact that they know kind of what they want. Now, I take, a large step by saying everyone has goals. In our society, everyone does have goals. They say we're a society that doesn't write down goals. Maybe only 3% of the population have written specific goals, but every American has a goal. Whether it's a new TV set, what are they going to eat tonight? We pretty much live in a society where we could do immediately whatever we kind of want to do immediately for immediate gratification, or go out to a movie. It's available to us, right? You go out to a food store, there it is. You got to buy some food, right? You want to, read this book, you can go out and buy this book. It's pretty much available to us. But for long-term and meaningful goals, we often don't project what does it all encompass. What is it I really want to accomplish this year? What am I looking to have in my life? Those are very important questions, and they take a lot of reflection, a lot of contemplation. But when you get that centering, that inner feeling, and you get that confidence, and you've got a plan that's written out, and you know when you're going to do it this year, and you're looking forward to it, it's no longer like, gee, I'm really afraid this is going to happen, I'm not going to be prepared for this, or I'm not looking forward to this. Your attitude has changed. You know by doing this and doing that, 2 plus 2 equals 4, right? Or 6 plus 6 equals 12. So if I do these activities every month on a daily basis, look at these accomplishments, do my affirmations, attend my Success Club meetings, I'm about to accomplish a great year. And you know it's a great year in advance. That's the secret. Just looking ahead and saying, hey, the year is already done if you think about it, because before you know it, the year will be over. Didn't the last year go by pretty quick? Yeah. It went by pretty quick, didn't it? I remember how it started off, and then all of a sudden it was December, and now it's a new year. Well, I'm intent, and I hope you are too in your declarations, to not let this new year just slip by. This is a year you want to live with intent. You want to live on purpose, with your goals in line. When I mean in line, I mean aligned to your purpose, to your inner being, to who you want to be and what you want to accomplish this year, and this is what you're going to do. Well, I hope you've enjoyed some of the ideas that we've presented today. That was my group in Chicago, the Success Club, and you've been watching clips from 1995, January, literally 21 years ago. And I thank Mark Hodges, who was our videographer at that time, for saving and preserving those images. And it's amazing, decades later, how many of those members have gone on to achieve multi-million-dollar levels of success. And it's not just about the money. What they've achieved personally and the satisfaction they have in their life can be attributed, not necessarily that they were members of a Success Club, but that they were diligent in writing down their goals and they had a focus. And for the last clip, which we'll end our program with, we'll talk about life kind of being like an open book. And you get to write those chapters. So one idea might be to project ahead and use your imagination, and this is why writing down things on paper is very good. You can sketch it out, you can do all kinds of ways to brainstorm, to think about your new year. But as you get clarity, you can define the year, and if you look at your outcome 1 year later, you can sit back and look at, well, what does January mean for me other than the new year, or Martin Luther King's birthday, or February being Valentine's Day? You begin to look at what the month means for you and what you're going to accomplish during that period. So this is the final talk, which I think it's a great opportunity to think about your life being an open book that you write, and that every month could be a chapter for this year. I'm Mike Rich, host of the Hip Entrepreneur Show. You can go to newyearsuccess.com and download some of these free materials. I thank you for watching today, and see you next week.